To our sixth installment of Compass Coffee Talk, Steve?
Might be fifth or sixth. It's like Blur's Day, so I'm losing count.
Time is passing
Blur's
by.
Day is right.
Welcome, everybody. We're real happy to have with us today Ari Adams from ShiftCon. You're just going to have a lot of fun with us today. We're going to learn a lot about influencers and about Ari, and she's just fabulous. I can't wait to talk to her live here. And just before we get started, this is Compass Coffee Talk, Steve Hoffman co-hosting, and we're real happy to welcome a new coffee sponsor this week, Allegro Coffee, based right here in Colorado, an amazing roaster, and we're super happy to have them on board. So thank you, Allegro Coffee. And I thought maybe a good way to start, Ari, would just be to ask you how you're doing. How are things going for you down there in Atlanta with this whole crazy world we live in right now?
You know, it's like every day is a different adventure. I have some days where I'm just rocking this quarantine. I'm like doing all this productive stuff around the house, cooking new recipes, all of this fun stuff. And then there's some days where I'm like, what month are we in? What day is it? You know.
But your family's doing well, and you're all healthy at least.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Good to hear. So you know, I think maybe Steve, you want to just get us rolling here with a couple questions for Ari?
I'd be very pleased. And you know why I'm really excited to host you is a convergence of a lot of things, but I really think working with social media influencers today is a really key way for emerging brands right now who are already challenged trying to get into the marketplace. Now add to it everything we have going on out in society and in the economy. So how can you be creative, you know, bootstrapping, getting some earned media, getting some attention out there? Because frankly, I think natural and organic products are more important than ever as people focus on boosting their immunity and health. And Ari, you know, I'm a big fan of ShiftCon, unabashed fan, and I recommend it to brands out there, because what better way, if you want to reach really impactful and diverse group of social media influencers that have amazing blogs like yours, which is named Peace, Love, and Tiny Feet, folks. So make sure you go check out Peace, Love, Peace, and Tiny Feet. Yeah. Love, Peace, and Tiny Feet. Thank you for correcting me.
Can't have peace without love. Think of that.
No. Yeah. No, and what you're doing to really share things you learn with moms and families out there is really important. And then broaden that in your role now with ShiftCon as the CEO in this amazing community. I'm very honored to be part of the advisory board, also friends with your partner in it, Leah Segedy. Hey, Leah, shout out to you. But, you know, as you come to lead this group, you have a pretty unique background of your own. You know, what I'm interested in is you went to high school in the Fame High School in New York City, right? Yeah. And you were in the music and media business. You moved to Atlanta with your family. You're certainly the core healthy lifestyles, but tell us a little bit about your background, because really I find it so interesting. Your family, aren't you like first generation immigrant to America?
Yeah, my family immigrated to America in the early 80s from Liberia. And it's so crazy because now everything has kind of come full circle. You know, like one of the biggest misconceptions about the organic industry and, you know, is that this is something so new and you know, this new fad, new trend. But the reality of it is, and even as I'm doing stuff now, like I'll post something on my blog, some type of DIY toothpaste or, you know, things like that. And I share it with my family, like it's this big idea. They're like, yeah, you know, your grandmother's been doing this, you know, since you were a kid, like this is not new. You know, I grew up eating food from the earth, from the ground, and as a lot of West African families do, and immigrant families. So it's really crazy to me how, you know, this is like this alternative universe when really this is how, you know, our ancestors have existed for so many years. And it's just a matter of normalizing it at this point, you know? And I think from a marketing perspective, because a big part of my background is in you know, marketing, media. I've worked for you know, some major lifestyle publications. I worked for radio, you know, just kind of a newspaper across, you know, across the whole traditional media spectrum. And it's like, you know, like it's become something where the perception of the organic industry is, it's not what it should be. You know, it hasn't been normalized, and that's a big problem for a lot of the brands in the industry. You know, like the whole purpose of what we're doing is growth, you know, and so if you want to change your, to grow your business, you have to reach out to the core, your core audience, and people who have been, who understand this, and make sure they understand that this is not something new. This is not a trend. This is something that, you know, it's gonna be here forever. It's been here forever. And it's just a matter of changing the perception. And that's really what ShiftCon is all about. You know, we've been, like, I guess, like, when I describe ShiftCon, it's kind of like, you know, we're a community online and offline, you know, because we have real friendships that have developed from ShiftCon. We have a community that we call ourselves the ShiftCon Shifters, just to give you some perspective. So we are like not only influencers, but activists who try to put the messages out there that people need to know. They need to understand what they're eating. They need to understand how foods are labeled. They need to understand, you know, just how we can promote these brands and how we can, you know, promote this message to our audiences, and how we can hold businesses in particular as responsible for, you know, for what they're feeding to the consumers. You know what I mean? And so, like, the activism part of ShiftCon has always been that, you know, holding these brands accountable, making changes in the perception of organic, informing our audiences, and, you know, just promoting that message overall.
Well, it kind of seems to me like it's built into the name ShiftCon. But tell me a little more about that, because that seems to be the mission. What is it that you're wanting to shift exactly, in a sense? I mean, I get it, but I think I want to hear it from you.
I mean, so it's all of the above. Like I said, it's, you know, we started this, well, Leah Segedy started this back in 2013. And it was a big problem back then in terms of how foods were being labeled, and the non-GMO movement, and just a lot of deception in the industry. And so, you know, the shifters got together and just made shift happen, put pressure on these brands to change how they are labeling, how they're putting information out, how they're being more responsible in their ingredients, and you know, and everything like that. And, you know, in terms of what ShiftCon is, it's we come together once a year for a 3-day event, mostly influencers. We have, you know, a bunch of influencers who have been in this industry for a long time. Some of them, I mean, like, they've been doing this since way before organic was sexy. You know, now it's like this sexy thing, but years ago, they were like the weirdos and the outcasts, and the ones who, you know, just the troublemakers, you know, in the world, in the consumer products industry, really. But, you know, it was about bringing them together to connect with the brands, first of all, who mirror their ideals. You know what I mean? What people don't understand about influencers is you know, a big part of the success of influencers is the authenticity of what we put out. You know, so our blog, our readers understand who we are. They know what we're about, what we stand for. So we can't just work with any brand. At some point, you know, like, if I connect with a brand that no one in their right mind who's followed my blog would believe that I'm actually feeding my family or utilizing in my lifestyle, you know, I lose all credibility there. And so we don't want that. And which is why, like, connecting with these brands and forming those relationships, you know, it's so important. And they get that at ShiftCon. For the influencers, the conversations that happen at ShiftCon are just incredible. And they don't stop at ShiftCon. You know, like I said, we have our ShiftCon Shifters community where we're constantly sharing ideas, and people who come in from different, or who are in different stages of their green journey. You know, so you have some people who've been doing this for many years, and then you have some who are, you know, still learning, or some who might be rock stars in the you know, the organic food side, but don't understand as much about the environmentalism side of everything and how it all connects together. And so we bring those people together, and the conversations keep going, and we, you know, we learn and grow from there. What's really great about ShiftCon, you know, for myself, like, I consider myself a parenting and lifestyle blogger, and you'll find that, you know, we get the short end sometimes, you know, as far as the information we're putting out and the backlash we get for stuff we're putting out. moms know stuff. Like we know our stuff. We know what we're giving our families. We're very astute to those types of things. But, it always helps. And this is what you get at ShiftCon. It helps to have the connection with the scientists and the doctors and the professionals who have, who can kind of give you the data, the statistics, the things that you need to kind of add some credibility to your content. And that's kind of what we try to promote at ShiftCon. So the first day of the event is all, it's usually our VIP day, our, elite content day. This year, however, because we're online, we're going to, open that up for everyone, which is huge because a lot of people love to get that information. But, we have content specifically for these bloggers on how to increase their platform, how to grow their blogs, how to, construct their wellness content into, into their blogs. And what's really exciting this year, we partnered with Google. Like Google found out about ShiftCon and reached out and wanted to be a part of this. And so they are sending someone. So our first keynote is a Google speaker, a Google employee who is going to be talking about a new platform they're unveiling, which I can't talk about it yet, but it's going to be a really, really huge thing for bloggers.
Well, they're smart to work with you.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Absolutely. You guys had to pivot this year, right, on the conference. So what's happening with that?
Yeah, so we are going virtual.
But it's now accessible to a lot more people as a result. So like the lemonade that you can make out of the lemons here in a sense.
Yeah.
It's really going to be incredible. I joked this morning about how technology can drive us crazy, but at the same time, it's incredible because we've partnered with a company that's going to create a whole new platform for us to give us, because I said, look, we have to have this as similar to the in-person experience as possible. So I want to have that, I want bloggers to be able to stop into different sessions, different booths, different, have one-on-one conversations with brands. So we have all of that. We'll have the virtual rooms, private rooms where you can have one-to-one time with the brand you're interested in working with. You can go into different breakout sessions. Everyone can gather at the main stage and listen to the keynotes. We're going to have our fitness, I love our fitness sessions at ShiftCon. So we are going to definitely try to put that in there. And I'm happy because, we can never get everyone from everywhere, which we alternate, coasts every year because we want to make sure people can come from the West Coast, from the East Coast. And now it's like everyone can just join in the conversation. And that's ultimately what we want.
How many days? You going to do 3 days?
It's going to be 3 days. Yeah. Okay. And it's going to be a jam-packed 3 days.
So for people now, you reach a big community and I want to ask you about that. But again, as you've hosted conferences each year in various locations across the country, you draw hundreds of top influencers, but now actually you may be able to reach more through this. You are charging for this event, but I think it's a real accessible price for everyone. So again, for people who don't have to travel that want to tune in, this is an opportunity, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I've actually gotten some flack for how low we're going this year on the price. So it's only $40 through the end of July for all 3 days of the conference. Because like I said, people have gotten on me like, why is it so low? I mean, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of great content, and it's definitely not a reflection of the value of the conference, but we want to have people there. Like we do this for the passion and the love for what we do. Like, we want people to join and become a part of the community. And like, we understand people are struggling right now. We do understand that, but we don't want that to be a barrier to learning and growing your business and your blog and, and learning the things you need to learn to help your family right now.
I think it's a great opportunity to trial ShiftCon for brands, for PR firms out there like ourselves that want to reach earned media and influencers for their clients, for other influencers, because what it reminds me, what you do, Ari, is basically you're like teacher training, because here are all these educators, and you're educating them. And then so here's my question to you, and I want, how many influencers are within your reach, your constituency?
So our entire ShiftCon community is about 5,000. And that includes our, our Facebook community, our newsletter, and that includes like it's bloggers, NGOs, organic businesses, kind of across that group. For ShiftCon though, we do keep it pretty intimate. Where some, I guess we'll have about 400 of our close personal friends join us every year.
And brands exhibit, and what a wonderful opportunity again to get to know. What I find remarkable about ShiftCon is the diversity of the audience there. It really runs through all the cultures and ethnicities in America. So I think it's a great opportunity for brands to really amplify their reach. Now, my question is now 5,000 influencers out there. I wonder how many millions of people they reach, collectively. So.
Like I said, I think the last time we checked, this was a while ago, so we're looking at about 82 million in collective reach of our influencers, which is huge.
Wow.
And these are people who, these are people who are listening to every word they say, who trust them. They form that rapport with their readership. So if they say, this is a brand that I support and this is why, they get the response. They get that response from their readership. And that's really important. Like I said, it's the authenticity of what we do. We're telling our story. So we're moms, some of us, may have special needs children. We talk about how we raise them. I tell everyone, when I started blogging in 2009, my husband had just finished chiropractic school. And so we were on, we understood budgets, sticking to a budget back then. And, but at the same time, it was a balance of, do I want to, I don't want to sacrifice the health of my family, because I can't afford certain things. So I had to get creative, and I had to start learning how to incorporate things and how to integrate healthier foods and habits into our lifestyle. And so I started off writing a lot about that. So it really helps, I tell brands this all the time. Traditional marketing, in a lot of ways, has failed the organic industry, because it's created an image of privilege and, a very elite perception for the organic food industry. People look at it as something that they can't be a part of. It's this elite community that I can't penetrate, and so I won't even try.
And it's always come off as the perception of being expensive too, which I think adds to that. But
exactly.
But you may be able to present the value again versus just the cost.
And that's what happens when I talk to people about, when they see me, they know I am budget conscious. I'm not just like spend, but where I make those sacrifices and how I integrate these into my lifestyle, it's not killing me. And my readers see that, and they're like, wow, I had no idea, and that's kind of what we want. That's what we want people to understand. Like, as influencers, that's the power we have to communicate to people. We can show them how these things fit into our lifestyles, and, it's something attainable for my family, it's attainable for your family. And then there's also that accessibility aspect that influencers bring to their readership. I can't watch a commercial and call the spokesperson and say, hey, like, tell me more about this product, but people can come to my DMs and ask me questions. They can email me, and I can have those conversations with them and really help them understand. I show them how, if I'm trying out an ingredient, I'm showing them what recipes I created, the fact that my kids actually like them, that's a big part that, influencers can do for their audiences that you won't get from traditional media.
What's some of your top advice you're giving people through your blog right now?
So right now, honestly, like I've been focusing on a lot of other stuff with ShiftCon and everything else. But a lot of the purpose, I'm repurposing a lot of my content on, just like bringing the eco lifestyle into your household and being affordable, and finding DIY tricks to enhance some of your stuff. Some of the best hygiene products are a really big one right now. Organic deodorants and stuff like that I'll talk about. And oh yeah, Leah, I make my own soap. That's something that I've been doing for so many years. And now
That's cool.
and you know what's
Thanks,
funny?
Leah, for contributing that little tidbit.
You know what's so funny? It's like now that we've had to teach adults how to wash their hands in 2020. I'm
I
like,
tell you, it's changed my hand washing habits.
Hey, I have a quick question for you, Ari. I'm just curious. I know there are some brands on the call today, and I'm wondering what's the best way for a brand to decide who to work with when it comes to an influencer? How do you create that marriage? What do you look for?
Okay, so I'll tell you one thing that I do, just me personally, with brands that are part of ShiftCon and sponsoring the event. And I do this free of charge just because I feel it's really important for brands to get the best benefit out of their participation at ShiftCon. So I will work with the brand one-on-one. I'll find out what their objectives are, where the gaps are in their marketing, you know, kind of, because like there's some influencers who are going to be best fit for certain brands and the way they communicate and what they're trying to put out there. And so I really will work with the brand and kind of dig deep into how they should craft their marketing strategy with influencers and how to partner with them and just different ways that it's a win-win for both, you know, for both sides. And so I actually do, you know, I do take that time to do that. And I think it's important. I want everyone to, like I said, the purpose is growth. So I want everyone to get something out of ShiftCon and grow their businesses, grow their brands, and, you know, get the word out to the entire community.
Great. Thank you. That was perfect. Hey, Steve,
but anyone can email me, you know, that's ari@shiftconmedia.com.
Very nice. Steve, we're like 10 minutes out here. We try to make this a quick show. All right. Just so you know, coffee, basically 1 cup. But we have 10 minutes here. If there's any questions coming into the chat, we can take those. Or Steve, I'm sure you've got a couple more questions on your list there.
Well, you know, I just thought it was interesting. We've got a guest, Ashley Covelli, who was not able to attend last year, but she's attended in previous years. She's loved it. She just wants to comment. She's glad you're making ShiftCon so accessible this year to others. And again, I think it's an opportunity for people that may not have come to the live event to really see what ShiftCon community is all about. So that, I believe, makes it much more accessible. Bill, if you would keep track of some questions from there. You know, Ari, I want to ask, it's a tough time right now for businesses and bloggers. How are you seeing us working to support each other? And also, I think, again, this is a really important time for America to hear from us and really think about improving their health and lifestyle. Part of, I think, the challenges our country is facing is a lot of the preconditions that we have out there due to poor lifestyle choices. Yeah. And again, I feel that you are like an army of educators. Yeah. And this is a really key time. What have you thought about through this? You know, some philosophical maybe thoughts in this. And I don't know if I have a question here, but this is what's swirling in my mind right now.
You're absolutely right. I think if nothing else, we've spent a lot of time understanding, you know, how the things that we're doing and the habits we have and what we're putting into our bodies is affecting our overall immune systems and our health. And we're paying a lot more attention. We want to stay healthy. We want to keep our families healthy. And, you know, and that's the shift we've been making at you know, at ShiftCon, like, you know, bringing together the scientists, the people who can really educate, because there's so much misinformation out there. And that's like I scream every time I log into Facebook and I see all this information. And, you know, and I'll tell you, like, one thing, our speaker panel is always just the most amazing thing because we vet them so carefully. Like, we have, you know, some of the top, like, advisors and scientific advisors who help us understand, like, okay, this is what, you know, this is the message that has to go out. And we make sure we find the top speakers and scientists and doctors and researchers who can put that information, who can, you know, share that information with the ShiftCon community. So it's a really carefully vetted process. Like, I'll go through my vetting, pass it on to Leah, pass it on to her advisor, and, you know, to make sure the information that is being shared is accurate. And
And that responds to a question there of how you make sure you're getting the science right.
Yeah, it's a very careful, like, you know, and even with the brands, we have this long list of you know, ingredients that a brand can have in their products and practices that they have to follow, because we want to make sure that the brands that are represented at ShiftCon also are, you know, do meet the standards that you know, that we uphold at ShiftCon.
So question in the chat room about diversity. How are you promoting more diversity in the organic movement in general? And I think you've touched on this just a little bit, but do you want to address that?
So I took over in 2018, and Leah and I had this really big conversation because we said, you know, there are all these things happening, happening in Washington, happening across the world, you know, with both, you know, the food industry, the environmentalism aspect. You know, there are a lot of disparities in lower income and minority communities, and the people who are making the decisions are not diverse, we'll say. Okay. And that's a problem. And we said, you know, we're fighting so hard to get a seat at this table. And we're like, you know, screw it. We're going to start our own table, and they're going to want to be a part of our table. You know, we're going to have these conversations, and we're going to talk about how to lobby for what we demand for our communities. And, you know, we've done all that. We've gone to Capitol Hill. We've lobbied to, you know, to our elected officials. We've done a lot of that stuff. And, you know, part of it is just making that making this a community that's welcoming. Like last year, I think we had the most diverse ShiftCon ever. And it was a beautiful thing because people all we came together, and at the end of the day, like we all, you know, Black, white, Asian, Latina, like we all have the same goals and dreams for our families. We want to keep ourselves healthy. We want to keep our communities healthy. We want to make sure information is being shared in our communities. And you know, we don't want to deal with these disparities that keep happening and, you know, and not be informed and equipped to and empowered to overcome them. And so, you know, we came together, we sat in the room. It was just the most amazing, it was the most amazing synergy. And you know, as elite and privileged as this organic industry, you know, has been perceived as, your time at ShiftCon, and I've heard this from so many influencers, they're like, I felt so welcome there. This became my family. This is a group of people that I can rely on for, you know, for information and to share, you know, to just grow together. And that's really what it's all about. And we're going to continue to grow. You know, this world is huge, and, you know, there's room for everyone in this industry, and there's room for everyone to grow and just do amazing things. And that's what we promote at ShiftCon.
Great. There's a comment from Phil Miller. He says, the consumer has the power to change everything by not buying crap. Bloggers are spreading the message. Thanks, Ari. Just a little good on you there from a listener. Steve, we've got a couple minutes left. Do you want to ask one more question maybe?
Well, thank you, Bill. And Ari, you know, I actually think, again, you know, to me, what's going on in our country between the pandemic, I think hopefully really facing racial injustice and social injustice, hopefully for a real time, I think it's creating a portal, and it's painful. But, you know, at that nexus we're certainly turning more digital right now to get through this and find community. And you said something earlier that really struck me, and that is the ability to really form relationships again with people who are out there spreading the word. And I know that we are all very hungry to find out information here. So kind of leads me into this, like, maybe future question of, what's the role that these influencers, and I think it's going to be a bigger role myself, but where do you see it maybe going forward, even near term and a little bit longer? And we'll close with that, and then we're going to give away a mug and a bag of coffee to somebody when we finish up. But there's my last question for you, Ari. And thank you so much for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure and a real honor to have you.
I appreciate you so much for just being a huge supporter of ShiftCon since the beginning. So we really appreciate you. I will say, I think this change has been happening for many years. You know, when I worked, I think, you know, I would look at media plans and marketing budgets and everything else. And I saw that influencers, the influencer budgets and strategy was increasing a lot because brands were finding that, you know, that really did fill in the gap for a lot of their marketing, you know, struggles and you know, just trying to reach the audiences they wanted to and create brand loyal consumers, you know. I think I've always said this. I think the influencer community is like the word of mouth times a billion, you know? And that's where it's going. People are looking for real people to talk about, you know, their experiences with products, their lifestyles, how they can, you know, make changes in their communities, in the world. And I think that's kind of what's going to happen. It's going to be where, you know, people already do this. Like if you go online and you see like a big sidebar, even you see a commercial, you listen to something on the radio, or you know, it's really easy to tune that out. People skip through commercials. It's really, really easy to tune out the advertising part of it. And people want to hear from real people who look like them, who have similar goals and ideals, and, you know, just real people that they can talk to, that they can collaborate with, that they can bounce ideas off of and grow from. That's what people are looking for. And that's what the influencer community has always been and continues to do so. And it's become a challenge for the influencers because, you know, brands have to recognize that value as well, you know? And I think that's why what I do and, you know, how I work with the brands and how I, you know, collaborate with our entire ShiftCon community, we understand that it's going to take both of us. It's going to take a group of people. It's going to take the brands working with the influencers, working with the communities and other activists to really make the change that they're looking for.
Amen. Well said. Well said.
Thank you so much, Ari Adams, the face of new media.
Yeah, I can't wait for the conference.
Can't wait either. It's gonna be so phenomenal. I'm really excited about everything.
Tell us the dates again so we know.
Oh, October 8th to the 10th, 2020. And you can find out more at shiftconmedia.com.
ShiftConMedia.com.
And it's Ari, A-R-I, at shiftconmedia.com if anybody's got any questions. And if anybody wants to ask Bill or I anything, we can be reached, Bill or Steve at compassnatural.com. And now I think it's time to give away a bag of coffee. I want to thank our sponsor, Allegro Coffee. They're a Boulder icon, and really they've helped pioneer single origin coffees. They work with communities in Africa and Latin America. They have helped build schools. This is a brand that is truly authentic. Check out Allegro Coffee. And we're going to give away a Compass Coffee Talk mug and a bag of Allegro Coffee to our random drawing. And I'm going to pick Kat Rue. Okay. Longtime journalist who is also a mom and a family. Kat, you won yourself a bag of coffee and a Compass Coffee Talk.
And a singer, I might add.
And an excellent singer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, Ari, from me, thank you so much. Really great to
guys.
You, and thanks for all of your good advice this morning. Steve, I'll let you get the last word in there, buddy.
Just thank you, everyone, for attending. Really, you really helped make this worthwhile. It helps us stay connected in our community. Stay connected with us for the next Compass Coffee Talk. It'll be in early September, and we're going to bring some prognosticators on board to tell us what to expect in the future, because, you know, crystal balling it these days is so accurate, right, Bill?
It's anyone's guess.
It's anybody's guess. That's the name of the show. All right, you folks, take care. Have a wonderful day. Ari, thank you so much for joining us. Much love to the ShiftCon community. All right, take care, everyone.